Exists within the individual human being. Especially in a marriage, peace is of great importance for the well-being of both partners. However, peace must be worked for. It doesn't come automatically. Lethargy, having no initiative, and lack of thoughts or carelessness don't have anything in common with peace. Just that it is also not the case when there is a know-it-all attitude, arrogance, egotism, envy, and all the other evil forms of thinking and emotions. Many people are not in peace with themselves. They are dissatisfied. They have wishes that are not fulfilled. They are jealous of others, be it abilities, oh, this person has that ability I would like to have, or possessions or luck, the other person is lucky, everything he does, he succeeds and so. And when people are buying things they don't need, or just as a reward for things that don't need a reward, etc. These are some symptoms. Or another thing that threatens peace is emotions. And as you know, emotions are not the same as feelings. Peace in oneself.
Sorry, that emotions are not the same as feelings. Could you elaborate?
Feelings are produced by your thoughts. If you are looking at, when I'm now looking at the sky, there, I see the sun, I feel good. That's the feeling I have. I feel like I have been on a walk, thought, found a solution to something, I feel good. These are feelings. Feelings are always the result of thoughts. It's never the other way around. And emotions, a small child has no emotions. A child has feelings. Emotions are coming because you are treating your feelings the wrong way. If you are constantly suppressing your feelings, or perhaps if you are a psychopath, because emotions are exaggerated feelings. And contrary to a feeling you can control. You can change your feeling by thinking on other emotions you cannot control. Emotions come in an instant. There must be, you hear some sound again and again, and then whoosh, comes the rush from adrenaline. And it's very hard to let go or dissolve emotions. For emotions, there is always a process that has been before that went wrong. Something you did wrong, for instance, hatred, that's an emotion. It's not a feeling anymore, because just as a normal human being, you don't go through the landscape and then suddenly you have hating. You are hating something. There's a process that has to go before this happens. Envy.
So in other words, it's like developing certain thoughts over and over again, or negative thoughts, or thoughts that are not like that eventually form an emotional action. That is
thoughts, and the feelings that come from these thoughts are, if these are kindled, if all the time negative, not in a neutral way, the negative form, then they can turn and develop into emotions. And they go down to the subconsciousness, and that's why people have no control.
Right.
They're a small triggering factor lets them break free emotions.
Outburst.
Before your consciousness can have the control, because between your starting point of your thought and the thought coming into your awareness, that's about 1/3 of a second, this way from the beginning of the thought coming, then there the emotions triggered.
So if you hit your finger with a hammer, and that's a physical feeling, and then people get really angry because they hit the finger, or they just go, "Ooh, that hurt," and they try to suppress being emotionally upset over hitting their finger.
Yeah, then having some letting out some curse will bring relief, perhaps.
That's a good thing to let out curse?
Yeah, but then you don't hate your finger and you don't
Beat the hammer.
hate yourself and the manufacturer of the hammer and so on. It's just it's
an incident.
You have heard, and sometimes it gives you some relief if you give some pressure.
If feelings are out of control, for example, they're too suppressed or they're too exaggerated, then it causes emotions, right?
Yeah, if you are not in control constantly. If it's a one-time thing, there's no alarm necessary, but if it's a constant all the time, if you're losing control of your feelings, then it's emotions.
So why would people suppress? I understand exaggerating your feelings. People want to feel good, right? They want to feel like euphoria or something like that. They want to feel good, so they exaggerate their feelings. But why would people suppress their feelings?
Yeah, it's not just suppress, but also let their feelings exaggerate. That's the other thing. Also can lead to emotions if you are not controlling what you are thinking.
So, yeah, exactly. That's the point. You have to be aware of the thoughts that create the feelings.
Because you are the steering, the pilot of yourself, and you are deciding which thoughts you want to think, and which thoughts you want to follow. So it's important that you have some points of orientation, and points of orientation are the spiritual laws and commandments. That's if you are seeing these, then you are on the right way. Then you have more or less like some kind of a guarantee you are living a good life.
When you're talking about emotions, are emotions always negative, or can you have a positive emotion, like someone cries because they're so happy? Like
that's not an emotion; that's a feeling.
So when someone cries because they're happy, that's a feeling.
No, emotions are always negative because you are not in control of them.
Is that how you measure the stuff? If you're in control of it, it's pretty good, and if you're not in control of it, it's bad. Is that like?
Yeah, if you can test it. If you could change your feeling in 3 seconds, then it's a feeling. If you're just thinking on some other thing, and the feeling is changes, then it's a feeling. But if you have no control,
what about like infants? Infants can't control their feelings, do they?
They must learn.
But they don't have emotions.
They don't. I would say they don't have emotions. They are small ones.
Like how old?
But perhaps if they are treated badly and mistreated, and so they could also perhaps develop.
Fear is an emotion, negative emotion, isn't it? Fear.
Fear can be a feeling to protect you. Fear is
like
means to be careful,
like fight or flight,
to protect your life.
Then, for example, if you grow in you're a child, and you grow in an abusive family, then all the time like fighting, you don't develop this negative emotion like fear. Right?
Then you can develop hatred against your parents or your mother or your father, and so these are emotions. But just fear in itself must not be an emotion.
It's a feeling.
It depends on the context.
But when you're crying uncontrollably because you're happy, that's still a feeling? The action of crying can be a feeling?
Very strong feeling.
Yeah.
Can be, yes.
There's positive and negative feelings. So a negative feeling isn't necessarily an emotion. That's the difference. It's an extreme.
Mm-hmm.
That's come as an outburst, something that's uncontrollable. It's not.
Grief, to be sad, if there is a sad event or something that's normal, that's a feeling. But if you cannot stop it after several weeks, you're still crying, then you have a problem.
Yes,
that's
Then you have an emotion.
So I mean, I guess that's the trying to determine what the criteria exactly is, the difference between an emotion and a feeling. Like its duration of time within that
control, right? Like if it's if you have an uncontrollable emotional outburst and it's going on and on because you can't turn it off. It's an emotion.
But even a feeling, if you're having a feeling for like, you know, of sadness and grief for like 2 weeks, I'm just thinking that sounds like it's not very controlled. I think it's probably degenerated to an emotion. Maybe that's how emotions are formed. Like from dwelling on negative feelings for too long, then they start to become emotions.
Did you